So great stuff. So Francesca, hi, it's great to see you and thank you for taking the time to share with us or me your kind of experience. So by way of an introduction, could you just again share your name, role, and sort of the
Yeah, of
company?
course. Yeah, so my name is Francesca, and I am a business sales graduate for Virgin Media O2 Business when I started this year. So pretty new to
Ah,
the role.
great stuff. Thank you. And obviously when we've got together and spent some time together, could you tell me sort of highlight what sort of challenges that you are or have been facing? Yeah.
Yeah, of course. So I think the overarching challenge I think was just being brand new to sales. So never had any type of sales experience. And so I think just the natural challenge of just feeling like you don't really know what you're doing, and especially talking to professional people and just kind of picking up the phone. I think that initial kind of worry of thinking, oh gosh, what am I doing? That was probably the initial challenge. And then I'd say one of the biggest challenges I have faced is kind of customers kind of just being interested, but then becoming a little bit uninterested over time. And it's kind of keeping that momentum going, um, really, and just to try and kind of get deals over the line. And kind of the one that kind of is coming to my head right now is one deal. It was quite big and it was just kind of sitting there, and I had no clue how no one kind of seen it before. And it was a great customer with lots of opportunities. And we were going back and forth and back and forth. And I remember coming to you saying, we've just ignored me.
Hard to believe, isn't it? Yeah.
Yeah, hard to believe. So they're the kind of the challenges that I've been facing, I guess.
Okay, great stuff. So could you just share with us what have we done together to kind of help you in sort of those sort that challenge or others actually? Yeah.
Yeah. So I guess the first one would be about kind of having a little bit more imposter syndrome. I think that just kind of comes with time, but particularly because of your coaching and just kind of, I know it sounds silly, but kind of wording emails or kind of, I know it sounds basic, but as someone who's never been in sales, it's having these basic skills. And just kind of being told maybe go with this direction rather than go with this direction. And particularly, as you said, kind of reading the customer on the phone, the
Hmm.
type of person they are, and kind of really kind of changing your sales kind of personality to target that particular customer, which I found has been so useful. Because not everyone is as chatty as me, which is um, and with that particular example where I said about the customer having a big deal and it kind of having a lot of potential and him kind of becoming less and less kind of frequent with his replies, you said, you know what, rather than wait for the customer to come to you, why don't you go to the customer? And I remember you said, why don't you just set up some time in his diary, set up a meeting and put an agenda? And that was really the first time I'd ever really done that, because it kind of scared me a little bit, if I'm going to be honest with you, because it's kind of finding that balance between kind of taking ownership but
Yeah.
without being too pushy.
Hmm.
And it was successful. The customer was like, thank you so much. I know I've been really busy. So thank you for just kind of being persistent.
Yeah.
So I managed to have a really successful call with that customer. So it was a good outcome.
Which is great,
Yeah.
which kind of leads us nicely into what would you say are some of the benefits that you've gained by, both having training and coaching from me then?
Yeah, no. So I definitely say the first one is just confidence, just being confident within yourself and just knowing that at the end of the day, they are just people on the other end of the phone. And kind of taking that initiative, kind of being bold almost, um, and just think if that's what you want, then go and get it almost. And also just being a little bit more professional. So as I said, I'd never wrote an agenda before for a meeting, and I know
Yeah.
that sounds so basic,
Mhm.
but it's having that kind of coaching and that ability to kind of tailor these things to different customers and being kind of comfortable in that environment. It was really useful and really beneficial. And as I said, now all I do is set up meetings with the customers and just put it in their diary, rather than kind of them waiting to come to me.
Right. So clearly a lot more proactive then in your approach, yeah?
Definitely, and
Yeah.
it's having that confidence to be like that,
Yeah.
which is definitely something that I'm grateful for.
And what I would ask as well, have you found that has that helped the deals progressed or even closed?
Oh yeah, 100%,
Yeah.
100%, and it's actually quite crazy how it was never kind of taught to me before. I guess
Mm.
people's sales skills are, or people's sales techniques are different. And
Yeah.
when you're someone like me who's kind of come into the role without any experience, it's kind of good to just to kind of get a feel of everyone else's kind of technique.
Yeah.
But definitely with that, I found that people kind of take you a little bit more seriously.
Mm.
And so when, even if it's like regardless of how big the deal is, people are getting back to me more and the deals are actually getting over the line a lot more faster.
Hmm.
So that also gives me time to kind of move on to the next thing as well. So
Yeah.
I'm finding that I'm being a lot more kind of efficient and proactive, which is great.
Great stuff. And finally,
Yeah,
the last one I was going to ask you is there anything else that you want to kind of raise or discuss or kind of highlight?
I guess in terms of like raising, how kind of with Christmas coming up, for example, or having a problem with me sending out quotes, and obviously there being like a period where people are out of office for obvious reasons. People are at Christmas, it's New Year, and people are just kind of wanting to enjoy the holidays. How would you recommend I kind of, I don't know, get around that to try and keep the customer and the momentum going for the kind of the sales journey?
Right. Okay. There's a challenge there. This time of the year, things do slow down,
Mm,
unfortunately. And I suppose, unfortunately, sometimes the best thing to do is try to have forecasted this or head it off earlier in the month.
yeah.
As you know, you can sometimes say to people, look, we know that after the first 2 or 3 weeks of December, everything stops.
Yeah,
And I suppose it goes back to that whole point that we've discussed is, if the deal gets delayed or the customer
yeah,
delays signing it, what's going to be the impact?
yeah,
And if there's no real compelling or huge impact, it's inevitable going to kind of slide,
yeah,
okay, into next year. Now, some people may be doing that on purpose because of budget,
of course.
amongst other things. Because if they're running a calendar year, which means we
Mm,
end at the end of December, people might be thinking, yeah, I want to do it, but it's now going to have to wait till next year because it comes out of another budget. It's
yeah.
just one of the many reasons, okay, though, in terms of doing that.
So would you recommend I kind of talk to the customer about that, as you said, like what would be kind of the issue that you might face if the okay,
Yeah,
perfect.
what's the challenge
The challenge.
or problem that you're
Yeah,
if this doesn't get signed this year, is
yeah,
it factually going to materially affect you? If it does, in what
mm,
way?
yeah,
Does that mean you want to still close it or have it signed this year?
yeah,
Are you waiting? There's a lot of questions there. Are you waiting for budgetary, whatever
yeah.
kind of the next one is? Anything else? Can I just say thank you as well?
Oh,
Appreciate
you're
you
welcome.
taking the time to share with me what's been happening and how
It's the
we've
least
worked
I could do.
together. Yeah.